Hi, and welcome back to another episode of the Heat Check podcast. I'm John Devine. This with me is Anthony Chang. Trying to avoid the stomach illness that everybody on that team seems to get. I don't know how well that's working out for you. You don't have to go into detail.
I was saying, can I go into kind of have some breaking news because I haven't put this on Twitter because I haven't
Sure.
wanted to just make it about me. But I have also got the stomach bug the last few days, and that's limited me. So it has been a serious thing around the team. Those around the team, that stuff spreads quickly. So I feel the pain of some of these players that keep going down here with the stomach bug.
So for those of you who have been following the Heat and wondering what kind of access does the Miami Herald have to the Miami Heat, there's your answer. Close enough where we can all get the same illnesses.
Yeah, I feel better now, so that's good.
But if you're a Heat fan, you're not feeling this. You're not feeling too great anyway. If you think about Wednesday night's game, they were playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Has one of, if not, do they have the best record in the NBA right now?
Best record in the NBA. Best record
in the NBA. Go through three quarters, up 10, looks good, and then the wheels fall off. In fact, the wheels fall off so much, I think they were outscored 24-0. And they scored less than 10 points in the quarter. The only other team I can think of that's done that is the Miami Heat.
The Heat, yeah.
So what's going on with this fourth quarter stuff?
Yeah, it's look, I think everyone was waiting for that Oklahoma City run last night as the Heat led for the first three quarters. They didn't trail through the first three quarters. They're playing really well. They're on their way to what looked like was going to be their best win of the season. And then what usually happens with this team happened. They went through a huge scoring drought where, like you said, they were outscored 24-0 to start the fourth quarter. They went the first 5:47 of the quarter, so basically half the quarter without scoring. You do that against any team, not going to be good. You do that against the Thunder, you're going to get run out of the building. So all the good work they did through the first three quarters just negated. Bad, what really was an expected double-digit loss because you're facing OKC on the road. Ended up a double-digit loss, but the way it happened made it really disappointing and frustrating, I think. So it's hard to explain. There have been 4 single-digit fourth quarters in the NBA this season. The Heat have 3 of them. Again, there have been 4 single-digit fourth quarters in the NBA, and the Heat has 3 of them. I believe OKC is the only other team, which is ironic because they're the best team in the league, that has done it. But I think they did it while they were playing all their backups in a double-digit win. So basically, it doesn't really count. So really, the only team who has done it with their main guys on the court has been the Heat, and they've done it 3 times.
Okay.
That is crazy.
So if they've done it 3 times, but we're integrating 3 new players in here, do you think it was a byproduct of the fact that they had 3 new guys trying to get in the system? Or because it's the 3rd time, there's still a real problem that persisted even with new players in the game?
Look, I think, not to make this all about Jimmy Butler, but I think they missed a guy like Jimmy Butler.
Who?
A guy who slows the game down, can get to the line, who can generate and manufacture points for you, right? By drawing fouls, by drawing double teams, by just willing his way to the basket. You look at these 3 fourth quarters that this has happened. The first one, he was sick. Second one, he was traded. I think it was the Brooklyn game right after the trade. And then this one, obviously, he was already in Golden State. So they have not had Jimmy Butler in those 3 games. Is that a coincidence? Probably not. Right? I think Jimmy Butler plays.
Sick, by the way. Jimmy Butler may no longer be with the Heat, but yesterday it looked like he had a little bit of a stomach issue himself. So he may not want to be part of the Heat anymore, but apparently some of it lingers on. So
maybe he caught something on the way out. Yeah, I don't know.
We'll just leave it at that.
But
Pat Riley's revenge.
It just look, Oklahoma City in the fourth quarter, you know what they're doing, right? They're going to Shea. They're going to turn up their defense. They have the best defense in the NBA. They're going to run the offense through Shea. They're going to do small pick and rolls. They're going to get a smaller defender on Shea. They're going to let him go to work. They basically did that the entire fourth quarter. The Heat, without Jimmy, what do they do in the fourth quarter? What's their go-to action? You look at what they did yesterday, and even Eric Spoelstra said after the game, they dialed up the entire menu. They ran Tyler Hero Bam pick and rolls. They did Bam post-ups. They did dribble handoffs. There is no real go-to action. I think that's part of the reason. If you're looking for a basketball reason other than their offense just goes through these droughts because their offense isn't good enough, In the fourth quarter, you have to have a place to go to, and really that probably is Bam, but there's not a go-to action that they run through Bam. There's so many different things that I feel like, and this comes with also integrating new players, but I think that's part of like the indecisiveness, the turnover sometimes in these late game situations when a defense like Oklahoma City turns it up a notch. That's what happens. So I think that's part of it. And I also just think, like I said, their offense just isn't good enough. Earlier in the season, these droughts were happening in the third quarter. They just happen. When you have a bottom 10 offense, you're going to go through these droughts, especially against good defenses. So I think it's a combination of things. Obviously, I know it's frustrating when you're scoring 8, 9 points in any quarter, especially the fourth quarter, and you're giving up big leads. I think they have the second most blown double-digit leads in the NBA. I have to look it back, but they have 13 blown double-digit leads. Second only to the Utah Jazz, who I think have 16. So that right there, I mean, you take 8 of those games, let's say not even half of those 13 blown leads, you add them to the Heat's record as wins, they're probably like the 4 seed right now. So it's been kind of, other than the Jimmy Butler thing, it's kind of been the story of their season so far.
So answer me this. Is Bam a victim of his own versatility when it comes to this? And this is why. If you can work him with the dribble handoffs, you can work him on the pick and roll, you can work him on the post up. His best shot may be mid range. Okay, so sometimes if you have all those options, when it comes down to it, what is his ultimate go-to move when you have a situation like this?
Yeah, I mean,
he's the one that broke the drought.
Sure. He hit a 3. But do you want to live on Bam threes? No, you don't. So his go-to shot, we all know by now, the last few years has been the mid-range, right? The little mid-range inside around the free throw line. Again, do you want to live off that? Probably not. It's not a very efficient shot, right? In fact, the Heat were almost basically trying to phase that out, right? For most earlier in the season, they're trying to phase out those mid-range shots. So that's the issue here is, look, Bam is a great two-way player. He's a 3-time All-Star. He's one of the top 5, 7 big men in the league, really, when you can't put defense into the equation. But is he a dominant scorer? Is he a guy you just give him the ball and let him work most nights? Probably not, right? Like you said, he does a little bit of everything. He's a good offensive player, but he's not Jimmy Butler, who is just going to manufacture points for you possession after possession in crunch time. He's just not that, at least not right now. I don't know. Maybe he'll develop that later in his career. But this team is, and Tyler Hero, great scorer, very skilled scorer. But again, he's not a guy who's going to get to the free throw line and slow the game down. He relies on outside jumpers for the most part. When those jumpers aren't going in, it's tough. So who's going to create easy baskets for you? What's the answer to that question? And the fact that it's hard to answer that question right now, that is, I think, the biggest reason for their fourth quarter offensive struggles. And then it bleeds into their defense too. You can't forget about the defense. The defense wasn't good either. I think some of that is you're missing a lot of shots. It's hard to set up your defense, right? And that kind of bleeds into it. So it kind of feeds off of one another. But yeah, the offense, I mean, you can't escape it. I think they have 17 fourth quarter points in the last 2 road games. That's insane, right? So you're not going to win many games like that. They're going to have to fix that. Is the answer on the roster? I don't know. Doesn't seem like it, but who knows?
I also like to think of it as watching it. Sometimes it's a victim of the modern NBA. And when I say that, I mean, and you even said, we're eliminating the mid-range game. A lot of teams are. So it's either layups and dunks or threes. Okay. What do threes usually yield? Long rebounds.
Sure.
Long rebounds, you're not, if you're in the hole and you're getting there, you're getting those second chance, there's a scrum in the middle, people are scrambling for it. Those long rebounds, and then everyone's out and they're fanned out and they're starting to run, and they're either trying to go straight to the rack or they're spreading out and fanning out for threes, and those offensive rebounds are easier. I don't think, this 3 and let it fly modern NBA really plays to that strength either. Now, I know the Heat zigs when other people zag. I don't think they're going to go back to, a mid-range game to do that. But it's just what we're seeing. I have no answers. I don't have a fix for it. But it's just what I'm watching. It's like, holy crap, now what do we do?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, if you had a guy like Kevin Durant, right? Which I'm not saying this because he was in trade talks with the Heat, but if you have a guy like Kevin Durant, who's one of the best mid-range shooters in NBA history, that's a different story. That's a go-to guy you can go to in the fourth quarter and let him work. And just if he takes mid-range shots, you live with that because he's great at them. But there's only, he's going to be a Hall of Famer for a reason. There aren't many players who can do that.
Hey,
Another thing,
30,000 points this week.
exactly, yeah. So they just don't have that on their roster. Sometimes it's just, you can point to coaching, you can point to whatever you want. It comes down to personnel. And this is not a bad Heat roster, but they lack that number one dominant scorer who could just take over a game late. And Tyler Hero can do that sometimes. We've seen it. But again, when you rely on the three, unless you're Steph Curry, which I think Tyler Hero's trying to model his game after that at this point of his career, but unless you're Steph Curry, it's hard to take over a game when you're relying on 10, 11 threes a game, right? Unless, you're one of the best shooters of all time, like Steph Curry is. So another thing fans have pointed to is the substitution pattern. He'd open the fourth quarter without Bam on the court. I think by the time he entered, like 2.5, 3 minutes into the fourth quarter, the Thunder had already scored 13 unanswered points. They had stolen momentum. Do you change the substitution pattern and open the fourth quarter with Bam on the court and let him play the entire fourth quarter? I guess. Would that have changed things? Probably not, right? I mean, it just seemed like OKC was going to win that game.
How much money is Bam making?
A lot. I don't know the exact number of my head.
A lot means he can play the fourth quarter.
I agree, but I mean, he can't play.
If you're struggling like
that. I think I get it, right? You want to buy him a few. It's not like he sat like 7 minutes, right, in the fourth quarter. He sat at 2.5. You should be able to survive the fourth quarter. You should be able to survive 2.5 minutes of the fourth quarter. That's a problem in itself, right? Where you can't survive without Bam on the court anymore. But against a team like the Thunder, you're on your way. You're 12 minutes away from the best win of the season. Your best win of the season. Probably just gotta leave him out there. Just gotta leave him out there. It's if you're facing a mediocre team, maybe it's a different story. You buy him a few minutes, but against the Thunder, they're gonna make a push, right? You're playing in OKC again. You're 12 minutes away from a game that really, I'm not gonna say is a breakthrough game. That's probably overstating it, but you feel really good about yourself, right? If you escape OKC with that win, right with the All-Star, on the verge of the All-Star break, you feel pretty good about yourself. Now that turns into another horrendous loss. So it's a big difference. I think, again, I don't know if he would have won if Bam would have played the entire fourth quarter. Again, I don't think he would have. I don't think he would have made that big of a difference, but probably would have helped. Definitely probably would have helped.
Okay, so we were talking about maybe being outmanned in terms of personnel against Oklahoma City. Let's talk about personnel a little bit. We're trying to fit Davion Mitchell in there. We're trying to fit Anderson in there. We're trying to fit Wiggins in there. What do you see that they are bringing to this team so far that maybe Spo can work on during the All-Star break when we come back after Thursday's game?
Yeah. So
Dallas,
I mean,
right? Yeah, Dallas.
Yeah, and Kyle Anderson hasn't played much. He played a couple minutes in the game against the Celtics. He didn't play against OKC. But Wiggins and Mitchell have started both games, the first two games with the Heat. We're recording this before the game against Dallas tonight, but they've started both games. They both have had their moments. Davion Mitchell was really impressed. We knew he was a great defender, just a bulldog defender. They put him on Shea. In OKC, he did a pretty good job early on. Just tough, fights through screens. I think he drew 2 offensive fouls with 2 illegal screens in OKC. And what's impressed me the most is they're letting him be the point guard, letting him run the offense. And his playmaking has been good. His passing has been good. He gets into the paint consistently. He's kind of a hot and cold shooter. His 3-point shot isn't great. He made them in OKC. But that's going to be something that's going to come and go, I think, for him. But defensively, he adds a lot. I think he has a lot. They needed a point of attack defender, especially after the injury to Drew Smith. They needed that. He gives them that. So I would expect him to continue to start. Andrew Wiggins, we've seen how he could help. Kind of looks like he's trying to find his spots within the offense, right? He was in Golden State for 6 years. So it's going to take a little bit. But we've seen them work, the ball to him in the post, let him run the offense, like that in the post. You've seen him, some of the spot up shooting that he can get. He was a 40% spot up 3-point shooter in Golden State, so they're trying to take advantage of that. Hasn't made a ton of his shots so far, but it's only been 2 games, so I'm sure that'll come around. So I'm not too worried about Wiggins. I think you see the fit Is he going to score 25 a game? No, but you kind of know what he is defensively. He's created a few turnovers. I think he has a couple of blocks already, a couple of steals. You put him on the best wing scorer on the opponent. So he's going to fit. But I think it's going to take some time for him just to continue to get comfortable, especially in the offense.
What number does he wear, by the way?
22.
Sounds familiar. I don't know.
Yeah. Remember when I told you, remember you asked me, do you think they'll retire Jimmy's number? And I said, I do not think so.
Well, that didn't
I think
take
that
long.
was, yeah, I mean, again, that could change, right? I mean, they could, after Wiggins, eventually his time with the Heat is over, they could never give out 22 again. But if you're looking for an early hint of they're going to retire Jimmy's number, the fact they gave it away immediately to Andrew Wiggins, that kind of shows you.
Yeah, that would do it.
Yeah.
Okay, so Thursday night, it's the last game before the All-Star break. But that does not mean the Heat has nothing to do during the All-Star break. So outside of Spo getting those guys in the lab, what will the Heat players be doing during the All-Star break?
Yeah, first, Friday, it was something every day of All-Star weekend, really. Keeps me busy. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Jaime Haka is going to be in Rising Stars, which he was in last year.
Ware.
Not Khalil Ware, interestingly enough. Jaime Haka is going to be in Rising Stars. The second straight year he's done it. But the interesting thing about that this year is the winner of the 4-team Rising Stars tournament earns a place in the All-Star Game tournament. So Jaime Haka has a chance to play in Sunday's All-Star Game if his Rising Stars team wins tomorrow night. So we'll know tomorrow night on Friday whether Jaime Haka will stay in San Francisco to play in Sunday's All-Star Game, to play against NBA All-Stars, and to have a chance, I guess, to win the All-Star Game. So that'll be cool. Saturday, do you have a question on that?
No, so I was saying there are 2 Rising Stars teams or 4?
4 Rising Stars teams.
Okay, and then they go down to 2 and then down to 1.
Correct.
Right?
And it's all on the same night. It's like quick games.
All right, so they got to win twice to get
twice.
this to Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so they have a chance. So we'll see. I mean, it's not like in previous years, obviously, you do Rising Stars, you're done. But the winner will play. It's a pretty cool honor for whoever wins, all these young players, to be on that stage on Sunday night against, the league's best players. So that'll be something to watch for with Jaime. Saturday, we have Tyler Hero in the 3-point contest. He did not do too well a few years ago in Salt Lake City. His first time in the 3-point contest. Eliminated in the opening round. So we'll see how Tyler does this year. I believe also kind of under the radar, and he's not technically a Heat player because he's not under contract with the Heat, but former Heat 2-way contract player who is now still with the Heat G League affiliate, Alondes Williams, will be in the G League Slam Dunk Contest Saturday afternoon. I believe that is at 2
I think it's at Oracle. It's at Oracle Arena. It's
No.
not the Chase Center, is it?
No, the G League stuff is actually like at a convention center, I believe.
Okay.
That dunk contest, I don't even know if it's televised, but it'll be Saturday at 2 p.m. Alondes, we've seen him before, the highlights of his dunks. He's a great dunker. So that's Saturday. Sunday, we have the G League Up Next game. That's at 3:30 p.m. Sunday on the NBA app and Tubi, so it's not going to be on TV per se. But Josh Christopher, Heat 2-way contract player, and again, Alondes Williams, who's on the Heat G League team, will be in that G League Up Next game, again, which is another kind of tournament between, I think, 4 teams as well. So that's early Sunday. And then Sunday, obviously the main event at night, 8 p.m., Tyler Hero will be in he's the Heat's lone All-Star. And maybe Jaime Hawkins will be in the All-Star game. We'll see.
Right. And I think those games are like 1st to 40. Counting 2s and 3s.
The first, the 3 All-Star games in that 4-team tournament are the winner is the first team to reach or surpass 40 points.
Yes. So for you guys who are used to playing out, 2s and 3s count. I don't know if it's make it take it, but it's going to feel a little more familiar. Look,
interesting. Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to work, but at least they're trying to shake it up. And
I
maybe
will say this.
something.
I will say that Rising Stars team probably is going to try pretty hard.
Yes.
Whoever comes out of Rising Stars, they're going to want that, right? They're going to want to make a point of like, we can compete with these guys. So they're probably going to try pretty hard. I'm guessing that's going to force the All-Stars to play pretty good because they're not going to want to lose to the Rising Stars. So maybe that does add something, another element to kind of create a funner event. more fun event. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be embarrassed, but the kids come up and then they embarrass.
Yeah, it's kind of like the dream team, right? Losing to like the
Team
Steelers
Select
against all the young
day.
team, exactly,
Yes.
right? You don't want to lose that. So maybe that's like the element it brings to the All-Star game.
The other thing they're doing is it seems like they're including, because it's in San Francisco, they're including a lot of Warriors legends. I know Tim Hardaway's coaching, like it's like Tim Hardaway's team versus Chris Mullin's teams. I think these are rising stars.
Mitch Richmond, yeah.
Yes.
And actually, Jaime's on Tim Hardaway's team, which is kind of cool because obviously Tim Hardaway is a Heat legend, right? He has his number retired by the Heat, so that's kind of a cool connection.
So Run TMC is back for one weekend only.
Yeah, for Rising Stars. It was a
great name. What can I say?
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, we're doing an abbreviated one. We will be back after the All-Star break. Maybe a little earlier, depending on, if Tyler Hero shows off and, tears the house down, we'll talk about it. But until then, we're gonna go into the lab just like Spo is. We're gonna cook up some stuff for you. Keep following Anthony on MiamiHerald.com, on X, all those social media platforms, and we will see you next week.